Good morning, students. Welcome to BSc 1 second semester online zoology class. Today I am going to discuss on structure of integument in amphibians. From amphibian class, frog is taken as an example. So here I have shown you the skin of frog. The vertical section of the skin of frog is like this. The skin is made up of two regions. Upper region, this is called epidermis. This is epidermis, and this part is dermis. Epidermis, dermis. So epidermis is the outermost thin non-vascular layer. It's a thin, comparatively thin non-vascular layer. It is non-vascular means it has no blood vessels. It is not supplied with blood vessels. Blood vessels are not here. Clear? Therefore it is called non-vascular region, and it is multi-layered. Therefore this is called stratified epithelium. Stratified epithelium. Stratification means presence of many layers of cells. Okay, so the innermost layer, this is the innermost layer of the epidermis. This layer is having somewhat elongated column-like cells. Columnar cells are present, and these cells are have the capacity to multiply. They have the capacity to multiply, and they make a layer called as stratum germinativum. Stratum germinativum means the cells of this layer can undergo multiplication by mitotic cell division, and they move towards the upper surface of the epidermis. As the upper cells are removed, these cells are coming from the stratum germinativum, and they occupy the place of surface of the skin. Okay, the outermost layer of the epidermis is called stratum corneum. Stratum corneum. Stratum corneum was not present in fishes, but it is present in amphibians, because amphibians live in water as well as on land. Water and land. So this is the first adaptation of animals to terrestrial mode of life. Stratum corneum is also layer of cells, but this layer is cells are flattened here, and cytoplasm is replaced by keratin material. Therefore this layer is a keratinized layer. Therefore this layer is called as stratum corneum, and this layer is protective in nature. It protects the internal organs. Protection plus it performs another function, that is it prevents excessive loss of water from the body. Since the amphibians can also live on land. On land, scarcity of water is there. Therefore, in order to conserve water in their body, the outermost layer of the epidermis is cornified. It is horny. It prevents loss of water. Okay, so such layer is present in, it is started to appear from amphibians onwards. It was absent in fishes, but it starts to appear from amphibians onwards. Why? Because amphibians can also live on land. Therefore, okay, this is about epidermis. In epidermis, here and there you can see the flask-like cavities, and these cavities are made up of glandular cells. This is neck part, the bulb-like region. These cells are glandular cells. Glandular cells, they secrete mucus. So here in epidermis there are two types of glands, mucus gland and poison glands. Mucus glands are present in frogs. Poison glands are also present in toads. Poison glands are absent in frogs. So there are two types of glands, mucus gland and poison gland. So poison glands are absent in frog, but the mucus glands are present. There are two cutaneous glands, mucus glands and poison gland. Okay. So this mucus gland, what it does, it secretes mucus on the surface of the skin so that the body is slippery. It offers less resistance when it is moving through water. Clear? So this is about epidermis. Just below the stratum corneum, stratum germinativum, the chromatophores are present. This part is the dermis. Can you see here? Dermis. Again, dermis has two regions. Below the epidermis, the dermis is not compact. It is loose, spongy because of the loose arrangement of fibers and different cells. Therefore, this part is called as stratum spongiosum. And this part is compact part, where the collagenous fibers are compactly arranged. And this part is called as stratum compactum. These two come under dermis. Can you see? This is dermis, this is epidermis. Epidermis is derived from ectoderm, whereas dermis is derived from mesoderm of the embryo. Now let us start to discuss the structure of dermis. As I told you, dermis has two regions, the stratum spongiosum and stratum compactum. So in the stratum spongiosum, just below the stratum germinativum, chromatophores are present. Okay, chromatophores are there, and chromatophores composed of pigment granules. Different colors are imparted to the skin. I will tell you later on. Chromatophores. Next part, here connective tissue is there, loose connective tissue. Can you see here? Here and there you can see blood vessels. Blood vessels are there, and lymph vessels are also there. Lymph vessels. Okay. Nerves are there. Nerves. These nerves are branched. They extend up to epidermis. Nerves. Because of the presence of nerves, the skin is sensitive. Nerve makes the skin sensitive to external stimuli. Whatever external stimuli are there, they are perceived by the skin because of the presence of what? Nerve. So nerve is responsible for making the skin sensitive for the external stimuli. Okay. You know, the frog skin can change its color. It is because of the sensitive nature of the skin to the external stimuli. Okay, blood vessels are there. Blood vessels supply blood, nutrients to the skin. Then lymph vessels responsible for carrying lymph. Then these are fibers, collagenous fibers, white fibers. Collagenous fibers are, most of them are arranged horizontally, but some are arranged vertically also. Vertical bands are also there. So these are vertical bands of collagenous fibers. Vertical bands, and these are horizontal bands. Connective tissue. So here in there connective tissue cells are there. Okay. See the chromatophores. So there are pigment cells. These chromatophores are nothing but pigment cells. So there are three types of pigment cells, such as melanophores, lipophores, and gonophores. Melanophores composed of black and brown pigments, whereas lipophores made up of the red and yellow pigments, and gonophores are having guanine crystals. So these chromatophores are responsible for imparting color to the skin. Okay, so next, the skin is here in amphibians. It is not only protective, it performs as a respiratory organ in amphibians. When the frogs and the amphibians are present in caves or in water for longer duration, or they are in estivation condition or hibernation condition, the skin is acting as respiratory organ. You know it. Frogs perform different types of respiration: cutaneous respiration, pulmonary respiration, buccopharyngeal respiration. Cutaneous respiration means respiration through skin. When frog is in water, when it is present inside the caves, dark caves, when they are estivating or hibernating. Estivation means summer sleep, hibernation means winter sleep. So during these conditions, skin is used as respiratory organ. So during such conditions, lungs are not used as respiratory organs. Of course, amphibians are provided with lungs as well as skin. Lungs are there. So these lungs are used when the amphibians are outside the water. When the amphibians are in water, skin is used as respiratory organ. So the main difference between integument of fishes and amphibians is presence of stratum corneum in frog. Stratum corneum is absent in fishes. The presence of stratum corneum indicates the adaptation of animal to terrestrial life. Okay, so mucous glands are present here. There also mucous glands are present. Poison glands are also present in amphibians, certain amphibians like toads. So these poison glands secrete some secretions which keeps their enemies away from their region. So remaining things are almost same. But there the collagenous fibers are parallelly arranged, parallel to the surface of the skin, means horizontally arranged. But here horizontal as well as vertical, the collagenous fibers are there, connective tissue fibers, and these fibers connect the skin. It gives firmness to the skin. Clear? So this is about the structure of integument in amphibians. So the question for your assignment of today's class is: explain the structure of epidermis in amphibians. Explain the structure of epidermis in amphibians. It's clear now? Okay. So in the next class, we can see the integument structure in reptilians. How reptilian skin is different from the amphibians. Amphibian skin is different from Pisces. We came to know, and in the next class we shall understand how the skin of reptilian is different from amphibians. How it is adapted to terrestrial life, isn't it? Thank you.